again.
You'll forget.
I do once in a while, and then I'll be like munching on a cherry or something. And I'll be like, "Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Like every once in a while, you see in the chat, "Does someone hear that?"
No.
I'm going to work on it. I'm already theorizing something that might have happened.
Oh. We're live.
Woohoo! You know what's even worse is the very few times where I mute the wrong thing. So I mute like everyone else but me, and
Yep,
so
no,
all
we're-
they hear is silence and munching.
Yeah, we're silence and much. Yeah, but we are live, Squee, and everything sounds good and everything looks good. I think we're good.
Sweet.
I look wonderful, but I mean that's besides the point.
I'm thinking that I might want to up my bitrate to support more stuff on the screen, things like that.
Okay.
I'm turning it down might have actually been more of a hindrance. Maybe.
Well, you can fool around with that, but we want to thank you so much for helping us the past few weeks, though, Piph. You've been a star. But let's get started, shall we? So when we last left off, you guys both saved Killian Blackwater from a horrendous and probably very brutally short existence, being enslaved to a possession entity, and you were able to, with the combined crews of the Razor's Kiss and the crew of the Minor Innocents, along with its freebooter and temporary outcast drag workers, able to round up safely 4 more specimens into those crates, and all 6 bugs, 2 flies, 2 cockroaches, and 2 beetle type of insectoid mutants now lie within your cargo bay, all within the secure cages that were provided to you by Baron Dioxin. Now, before we get started with you guys letting Tyra know that his request is complete, I want to open it up to see if you guys either have any questions for me or have any role plays amongst each other or any NPCs before we move on.
Oh.
I think I'm good. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess notably, depends on how many days after this.
It won't be very many, actually. In fact, it will probably... Well, it depends on when you want to contact Tyrath. I'll let you know that now that all the objectives have been complete, that the 3 ships, including your own, are beginning a trajectory to head back towards Earth orbit. But it would only be a day or 2, I would assume, before you guys actually contacted, Mr. Undying himself.
It might seem like he has like a different air about him.
Okay, all right, interesting. All right, cool. I look forward to role-playing that. Anything else, guys?
I think I'm good.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So how are you guys going to contact Tyrath? Using the gem that he provided Patrick?
Okay, am I missing? Do we have other ways?
No, but I don't want to say...
No,
sorry, that was just me as a GM kind of feeding the next action, because I would hate to tell your characters what they do, like, okay, and you pick up the gem and you contact Tyra. I guess I could, narratively speaking, but I don't want to
That
be
is perfectly legitimate. It's
too
just
manipulative.
with my scattered brain, I literally thought that we had more ways, and I had
You
just
could
forgotten.
yell really loud. You could pray.
We did make a cult,
We love
we
the
kinda
chosen
did.
one. Loving him
okay,
is fun.
we'll
fun,
make a
fun.
campfire. Al will get his guitar.
We love the chosen one, not as much as me. What the hell?
Doesn't matter. All right. So, you know what? Fuck it. You grab you grab the stone that Tyra provided you and contact Tyra. Just kidding. Patrick, when you grab hold of the stone, I'm assuming Patrick is the one doing this, though, right?
Yeah, we had to kind of go into the golden room to get it, and
Okay, well, so you go to the golden room to grab it. Do you get anything else from the golden place?
Oh, I think he's probably going to, no. I think he's not going to take or leave anything from the Golden Place
Okay. All right.
besides the necklace.
Okay. So so you grab the scone. Patrick disappears for what seems to be just a few minutes. He reappears. He has a stone in his hand, and as you hold it and concentrate on sending your mind out forward into the stone, it takes a few seconds, a few heavy, weighty seconds, before, sure enough, you hear Tyrath's voice inside of your own mind, telepathically communicating with you. You reach out to me again, kinsmen.
Yes, we have finished your request.
Excellent. Prepare for my arrival soon. And with that, his voice leaves your mind. Sure enough, it's only about 5 minutes later. And in this space, there you have your recreational room. And then there's a large hallway leading to the cockpit. And attached from that hallway are all your individual rooms. Right? And it's in that hallway, that large hallway, that you can hear the crackling of what sounds to be, electricity. And the air gets tingy, coppery smell to it. And in a flash, in a beam of purple sizzling light, Tyrath once again appears. The tall, statuesque, dragon-headed, reptilian-footed Tyrath in his flowing, embroidered gold robe. Takes a look around at all of you, and he says, "Show me what you have collected for me."
And without a word, Patrick is going to wander over to the bay.
The bay?
Yeah.
Tyrath will follow you in slow, careful steps. And although he is a good few feet taller than any of you, and he has quite the size, although he's not a bulky creature, he does have that ropey, reptilian mass about him. And as he walks behind you, though, his manner of walking is slow and careful and light. His steps are not nearly as heavy as one would assume, even in this artificial gravity that is being generated upon the Rhapsody. August, Keach steps out. He's in the threshold of his room, and he just kind of stares and watches as Tyrath follows Patrick. And I'd like to assume at this point that Mila and Tom and Al would also be following in tow, or some way meet Tyrath's arrival, or in some way be in the cargo bay around the same time. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fair, yes.
So as you all assemble in the cargo bay, you can see in the dim light the 6 huge metal cages that have been set up. And the one in the far right seems to be the most active. It actually vibrates a little bit as its beetle hostage, seems very, very upset at its current predicament. Tyrath takes slow, careful steps around each of the cages, and his rep says, "I am very pleased. You were far faster and prompt than I assumed. Plus, all of them seem completely unharmed. Although that type, and he points towards the front 2 cages, the front 2 receptacles that had the fly on it. Seems to have something wrong with its eyes, but it seems not to be of exterior physical trauma, therefore I shall not blame you. They will serve their purpose regardless. And he moves in front and between the 2 cages, and he rests his left claw-like hand upon one of the fly cages and his right upon the other. And he closes his eyes. He breathes in deep, and he gives this low, rumbling chant in a language that you do not find familiar. It's not American. It's not Draconic. It's not Technocan. But after that, those 2 cages sizzle in a flash of purple light and disappear from your cargo bay. He gestures towards the other 4 cages, and he says, "Please assemble yourself by the cages, humans." And without paying any mind to see if you actually do what he requests or not, he moves to one of the walls of your cargo bay, and he says a simple word, "Thum." And the claw of his right index finger glows a soft yellow light. And he scratches into the side of the wall, the metallic wall, a shape, a design. It looks something like this. Patrick, roll me a magical lore check, please.
Okay. Magic lore.
Or lore magic, I guess, is a better way of saying it.
Failed by 9.
Failed by 9. All you can tell is that it's a rune of some sort, but you're not too sure exactly its purpose. Regardless, after he etches that upon your wall, he turns to face you to see if you have assembled by the other cages. Have you?
I would have.
Patrick does.
I would have.
Mila's like just kind of poking a wall. She's not really paying attention. If someone wants to like lead her over, she won't fight. Someone want to give a helping hand.
Actually, Patrick will lead you over.
Ah, hi Patrick. Oh, where we go? And then, like she'll just kind of like dazedly follow you.
Right over here.
Okay.
Right next to these, where we've been holding the buggies.
Gross.
Okay. Tyrath gives a slow nod of his head as he looks upon you, and he says, "Please stay still." And with that, he begins a chant. And all of you, if you choose to, it's in a strange word, but certain inflections, certain words, seem to be repeating themselves of the chant that he just said when the 2 fly cages disappeared. And sure enough, before you know it, a matter of seconds, everything goes black for just a split second, and your stomachs clench up. Do you know the feeling of when you're on the top of the roller coaster and you're just about to hit that crest, and the first few seconds as you begin to descend down, a hurtling decline?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is the feeling your stomachs get. Mm-hmm. For just a flash, for just a second, as quick as it arrives, it disappears. And there's no exterior feeling of nausea like that sense of vertigo you would really get. And when your vision clears from its blackness, what you see is, for lack of a better word, very different from the cargo bay in which you just which you just departed. You are standing on a stone platform in a square shape with a strange etching circle of black writing all around it. But what you're standing on is probably the most mundane of everything that you peer around you. In the far distance, you're in some sort of city by the looks of it, by the bustling of people, by the buildings that dot the landscape. And not just a little city like Fletcher or Parents Post, but a huge metropolis. In the far distance, with the yellow sun near, you see a gleaming, beautiful pyramid that stretches hundreds of feet into the sky, and it's made of the purest, cleanest marble you have ever seen. Stretched out beneath that are large towers of columns of Greek and Roman style, made of shining metals and carefully meticulated stone. And all throughout the most closest sections of you are tents and every single color there is out there. Reds, greens, oranges, everything just flowing in the wind. Temporary stalls. But the most shocking of all this are the individuals that you are around with. You are around with. All of them are aliens in some way or another, and most of them you do not recognize whatsoever. They come in every single different shape and size, from multi-legs to multi-arms, eyes, no eyes, their colors, the pigmentation of their skins, equally diverse, some looking horribly monstrous, some looking insectoid-like, some really more just resembling blobs. Wherever you are, it's definitely nowhere close to Mars or orbit or anywhere else you have been. It appears that Tyra has sent you to some far-off dimension, far, far away from where you left. And the first other creature that you see that you're able to closely inspect, give me a moment as I look, is just as unique as everything else. This individual has a long conal head. He's approximately 7 feet tall. And that conal head itself is wrapped in colorful red and orange scarves. And from time to time, small silver bells hang from those scarves that seemingly at a random pattern. He has 2 large brown eyes the size of dinner plates, and his pupils are in the shape of large yellow crosses. He has pale orange-colored flesh. He has no discernible nose, just so you know there, Mila. Yeah. And the lower half of his face seemed to be a collection of small holes or pits, approximately about 15 of them or so. And as he speaks, it is clear that it is wind being pushed through these lower holes in his mouth and forming a melodic sound. He sweepingly approaches Tyra, who's at the head of the stone platform that you arrived on, and he begins to speak to Tyra, but in a language that, once again, you guys don't understand. He says something akin to Tikana, Esu, Akade, and then his crossed, yellowed eyes look towards you, all of you, and he looks towards the cages, and he turns back to Tyrath, and the way they're conversing with each other, they're not the body language, as much body language as you know of Tyrath, does not seem to be standoffish. These two, you can discern, know each other at least at some point. And he goes, Tiratane, et humane, et elfine, Fordika? And Tyrath just gives a slow blink at this fellow, and he gives a small shake of his head, and he says in his rumbling voice, "Et humane et elfe e sul." The fellow kind of looks back for a moment, and he raises. He takes a look at you guys again, and back at you, and he kind of rubs his hands, and he says, "Onako bono, bono bono." And Tyrath brings his clawed hand to his chest and thumps it once, and repeats, "Et humane et elfe e sul." Hakana, he says as he raises his hand, this scarfed head individual. And he then apparently he cups his hands a little bit, and he gives a bit of a wave as if to follow, and Tyrath gives a bit of a nod, and then he turns to you. And he says, "Humans, I have brought you here to expedite everything. Although I am eternal, my patience is not. And I am eager to reward your boon as promptly as you fulfilled my request. Would you believe that you have returned to Earth?"
Al would be looking around him.
Maybe. It looks like. Does it look like Earth? God.
The sun looks like Earth. Everything else does not look like Earth. There's one sun in the sky, so you got that.
Mila will point up at the sky, be like, that looks familiar.
Indeed.
But everything else doesn't.
Don't interrupt,
That-
Mom. That's rude. She interrupts Tyra.
Tyrath gives a slow blink of his eyes, and he says, "You are in one of the places I like to do business, one of the multitude. This was the closest, and I know Minon of Sth very well." And he points over to the alien individual he was talking to. You notice at this point that Minon, he's wearing very similar clothes as Tyrath. He has a long silken red robe, and it's embroidered with silver as opposed to Tyrath's gold embroidery. And Minon of Sth has a black sash, and he also has hide shoes to complete the ensemble, where Tyrath prefers to go without anything on his feet. And he says, "We are in a place called Splin, on an old ancient continent that has once again raised upon the earth. The word for this name is, in your tongue, Atlantis."
That was Criana.
Yeah, actually, I guess that's a good question. Would
We would know
people
a
like
little bit
Al
about
know
Atlantis.
anything about Atlantis?
We would.
Before?
Specifically, we know exactly that the Splagorth slaver came from Atlantis that we fought last time.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So we're there! Yay!
Al looks worried.
Tyrath. I'm sorry. Al looks worried. Tyrath notices the look on your face and says, "This is not a place where humans typically travel unmolested, lest they be greatly powerful or," brings a claw and once again a hand to his chest, "you have a powerful representative such as myself. I advise you to follow us and the crates back to Minon of Sth stall, where we will conduct business. Stay close, humans, and if any were to insult or goad you, ignore them, for the sake of your own safety. I do not have the time to clarify any mistakes you might make. He pauses for a moment to see if there's anything you guys want to say.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Al looks worried.
Mila's just Mila's looking at the ground and looking around, and if no one's hanging on to her hand or something, she might start meandering.
I am going to grab hold of her arm and make sure she is right next to Tom.
Okay, now she just looks like a tourist, just looking around ooh, ah.
Well, there's lots to look at, and I'll get to that in a moment.
You know what?
Go ahead.
As something you'd really like to do, Patrick is actually going to say, is it alright if I took a few pictures?
Tyrath pauses for a moment and says, I do not know of any reasons why pictures are forbidden in Splin's dimensional marketplace. However, if the subjects seem perturbed at your photography, I suggest you stop immediately.
Noted.
And with that, Tyrath once again asks you to clump up in a close group, and he casts a spell on you. His hands glow a soft green, and it soon outlines yourselves. And soon you will discover, as you wander throughout the marketplace, as you follow Minon of Sth and Tyrath, that you will begin to understand the variety of dialects and languages that pass you by. You hear them in their original tone and inflections, but somehow your mind instantly translates them so you may understand them as well. And soon, Minon of Sth, the alien contact of Tyrath, would clap his hands in 5 short bursts. And soon enough, crawling up the short set of stairs are these huge owl-like humanoids. They are probably about 8 feet tall and a good 5 feet across, wide at the shoulders. They're built like your stereotypically huge muscle men, right? Incredibly so, and their big yellowy eyes, and all of them seem to have some sort of silver bell hanging from their left, from a bracelet on their left arm. And they all there's 8 of them in total, and they all carefully plod towards your platform, and 2 of them apiece begin to hoist up the cages which arrived here on Splin with you. They lift them up as if it was no effort whatsoever, and it might be some surprise because these are very heavy cages, and they also seem to pay no mind to the buzzing that are being made inside of these sturdy cages as well. And Tyrath and his merchant friend Minon begin to lead you through the winding streets of the dimensional market of Splin. Now, I'll save some time and not explain every single thing you might see, but suffice to say, it's important to color it exactly. The sights, the sounds, and more importantly, the smells. You have been, the past several months, been in contained environments, On Mars, you require a breather, so you breathe the oxygen in your suits. Aboard the Rhapsody, it's recycled air, and from time to time you have a few smells of the foods that you cook, but nothing vibrant, nothing as varied as what assaults your noses now, particularly Mila, who has a very, very keen sense of smell. The smell of spices, the smell of cooking food, everything from the most repulsive putrid smell of what might be sewage to the sweetest smell of cinnamon and sugars and other sweets, and everything in between assail your nose as you go from stall to stall, from business to business, block to block, following Minon of Sth to his place of business. Another thing that you notice as far as sights go, as mentioned before, the landscape, the demographics, even in the most diverse area of New Laszlo, have you not seen such a collective of individuals. And some of them are monstrous. You swear for a second out of the corner of your eyes you see a thorn-head demon, that horrible creature that once assailed you in that dragon's cave a year back. You see at least 4 dozen different races as you go on through. But one in particular catches your eye, and the reason so I shall explain. He's a large, bulky individual, a good 8 feet tall, solid pinkish, kind of a dirty pinkish skin. He has thorns on the edges of his big, square jaw. And he looks like a true brute. And he's wearing this armor of silver bands and golded banded armor that seem to have gems upon it. And in his hand lies a staff. And that staff, or at least that type of staff, is something very familiar to you. It's a long silvery staff, and on the top is a transparent globe filled with this gross yellowy green liquid, and inside that liquid floats an eye, a single solitary eye. Criana, I'd like you to roll me a D100, please.
Yes, ma'am. All right, here I go. Y'all ready for this?
Okay. And you get a flash of recognition. You've seen that eye before, but not of the Splagor slaver that you combated a while back. No, of a different vision. You remember, back in New Laszlo, peering into Morin's mind, and seeing the image of a huge, blotted eye looking right at you. And you're certain, it's not a hunch, you know, in your deepest of hearts, that's the same eye. Uh-huh.
Mila will probably shudder and who's holding onto her arm? Was it Tom still?
Is. Yeah.
Should probably pull your arm tighter.
Okay.
Like she sees something she don't like.
As you continue to walk and follow Minon of Sth and Tyra, Patrick, out in front of you darts what appears to be a very, very small dragon-like creature, but it's about the size of a cat or maybe a very small dog. And it darts through your legs very, very quickly, nearly tripping you with its tail, before it darts underneath a wooden stall a good 3 feet away from you. And you see a creature, bald-headed, tough brown skin, very, very sharp teeth, follow after it, cursing it, calling it, a rip-off buy, and he'll eat it before he trains it, But he pushes you aside, and I'd like you to roll me a balance check, please.
Oh, boy. I failed by 45.
And such is the weight and the suddenness of his shove, it throws you to the ground, doing 2 points of SDC as you either skin the palms of your hands or perhaps your knees. I'll leave it up to you. But minor damage as you're thrown to the ground. This creature, this thing that was chasing after that little dragonling, however, pays you absolutely no mind whatsoever. As you continue... Oh, sorry. Wait, I'll give you a moment to actually fucking roleplay for a moment. If you want to.
I would, but for a different thing. He will most likely get himself up relatively quickly and hurry back into where his usual stepping pattern is. But I think Tyrath would be interested in generally what happened a few days ago, aka the possession entity. I think he's a man of interest in such things, so I think I would most likely like to bring that up to him.
All right, so I suppose you can talk and walk. So maybe you scamper up, you move a little bit, so you're closer to Tyrath to speak to him as you continue to walk. Minon of Sth is a good 7 feet in front of you, so Tyrath doesn't seem to be currently engaged, and he doesn't look like he is stopping and checking out any of the other stalls or shops that just fill. Absolutely. One other little thing before we get in this conversation to kind of help paint this scene. Unlike any other city you've been in, this right now does appear to be just one giant marketplace. You don't see any drinking establishments. You don't see any inns. You do not see absolutely anything. It's just shop after shop, stall after stall, storefront after storefront. Some of them seem to be fixed and are actual buildings, but a good 50% of them seem to be either temporary tents or just out there free in the air, a table with some goods on there being sold by a menagerie of creatures. Anyways, but go ahead and address Tyrath, Piph.
I've always right now I'm just thinking, Sir Tyrath. No, that doesn't work. So he will go up to Tyrath and say, Tyrath, I have encountered a being you might be interested in knowing about. I'm not quite sure exactly what your interests are, but it seems like it might be in line.
My interests are many, kinsmen. And he turns his head just slightly to look at you before he swivels it back in front of him, and he continues to talk with you as you walk through these streets. And he says, is this a new type of creature you found upon Mars that you were unable to capture?
Yes, but I do not think it was native to such a place.
Oh, he rumbles with a tinge of a question near the end.
I believe from its attitude and attributes that we were encountered by a possession entity.
I see. He pauses for a long moment, and he says, you dealt with this being directly. That was very dangerous for your kind.
And Patrick will shudder for a little bit, but regain his composure. It was a task I wasn't sure if I was ready for, but did it anyway.
Being that we are here and you are talking to me as the true kinsman, I imagine you did as well as your kind could. He takes several steps in silence. You hear someone, a call in the back, say, Tyrath, please come. I have these new Zelgrebs for you. But you see him wave a hand away. And finally he says, you continue to surprise me. Another few seconds. Pleasantly surprise me.
I was curious if you may have known the person behind this. We have found his corpse, his skeleton, and he had a necklace to encapsulate such a being, along with some tools for protection and a spell book.
Tyrath gives a small grunt and says, I do not know. There are many races out there that use magic, that use the manipulation of supernatural forces. The very fact that this thing was contained for so long, and the fact that you found it upon Mars, which has magical ley line activity, simply implies it was some sort of spellcaster, although not powerful enough to prevent death.
Ah.
Did it look like you, kinsman?
No. I can give... and Patrick will give him approximate height from the skeleton, and also note specifically the 3 eyes.
3 eyes. I know of 14 races that fit that description, kinsman. Shall I list all of them off to you?
If I knew more information, I would gladly say yes. But
since you do not...
I believe that it would be information that would be tucked away and never to be reviewed.
Oh, do not say that, kinsman, Tyrath says, and for the first time, small corner of his thin reptilian mouth kind of gives a bit of a smile. All knowledge is useful. You just have to wait for the time and opportunity.
Then I would gladly enjoy such knowledge.
You'll notice Al's listening intently.
I can totally roleplay this. I'm going to totally do so just to add in some world building.
Sure.
All right. All right. So Tyrath will say, first is the Hychini of a distant dimension. They are known to be troublemakers and naturally attuned to magic. Then there is the Wallope. They too have 3 eyes, but they tend to be refuges and hermits. Then you have 3 races of similar lineage. The Ulawak, the Urik, and the Plemish. They mostly spend most of their time warring with each other. You have the Teak and the Gliss, although I have not heard or seen a Teak in 5 years. The Iroquois and Kirats and Kneep are also known to venture in these areas, and he points around to the Splin dimensional market, although I see no reason why they would want to venture to Mars. The Psalms, to me, by your description, seem to be the most applicable. They enjoy magic to so much that it sometimes gets them into trouble. Finally, there is the Ish. And that's all he says about the Ish. And you see him frown a little bit and kind of glare his eyes.
I would...
Please don't ask me to repeat myself.
No, I'm not going to. While snapping another picture of general wares and things like that, he's been actually very cautious to not try to directly snap a picture of a being or person. He's more interested in the objects and buildings and things like that.
Well, great. Well, then that will give me a perfect time to describe some of the objects that you might see, because I've talked about the buildings, the banners, the colors, the smells, the people. But I haven't really talked much about what's actually for sale at some of these stalls, because that, like everything else, is varied and in some points staggering. You have, first and foremost, of course, objects of magic. My goodness, your Creat, Patrick, when you pass by every other stall, it shimmers one way or another. Right? These are relics such as statues that seem to be magically imbued. Of course, weapons as well seems to be very popular here in Splin. You have the most mundane scrolls and other utensils, small utility objects that seem to be imbued. You have organisms that are for sale, small slug-like creatures, what seems to be animals of every shape and size. What also you might notice a little too uncomfortably is that there are many intelligent races that also seem to be for sale, including humans, including elves, including orcs, which some of you have been traveling from Perrin's Post to the east coast of Greencastle, and a variety of other individuals who seem quite intelligent. Some of them have some sort of symbiote on their head keeping them intense, but a lot of times many of them seem to be serving the masters, either providing to them, either by cleaning or maintaining a shop front. But none of them seem to be really smiling, with the exception of a few. You do see a few humans and one elven. All of them are women, and all of them are dressed in quite a bit of finery. And many of them are accompanying these monstrous creatures. And you would hear by some passing conversations. You know how if a woman were to get a new purse or a new bracelet, it's a nice attachment, it's very pretty, people like to talk about that? Well, they're doing that of people, of human beings being like, oh, I love your slave. She looks very nice. Oh, look how pathetically beautiful she is. Look at those two ugly eyes. Isn't that exotic? Isn't that interesting? Conversations such as that you're able to eavesdrop and understand thanks to Tyra's spell. And foods is just the sheer number of foods. Both revolting, which some of it just looks like sludge in a bowl, but very popular sludge because actually as you pass one booth, it seems to be like in stew that has these little bits of chunks of meat in it, and it is going like hotcakes, right? But there are other prepared foods and raw foods. Alien vegetation. Patrick, you get a picture, but probably about 8 different plants that you have never seen before. Some of them seem to be still very much alive and still very much snapping as well. If you like, though. Oh, I should I should talk about when talking about Splin, and that is the well, when you go to when you pass a block, you see individuals on either corner. Most of them seem to be very similar to that individual that you saw with that eye staff, right? The big, stock-skinned, brutish type of individuals with that strange gemmed armor, right? But some of them seem to you recognize, and in fact, as you round the last corner, following Minon of Sth, you see one true blue right there. He's only a few feet away from you, right? Only in armor, right? And you recognize it once again from your encounter with the Splagor Slaver. He had such like this, wearing this style of armor. They identified themselves as Kitini, and they spoke to you in a very abrupt way. But you, out of all the hundreds of things you've never seen before, you have seen that before.
I see.
No, Burn, you can't see. It's an illusion. It's just words.
Mila starts actually like grabbing at her forehead, and kind of Tom, you'll feel her. She's not walking with you anymore.
She's not, but I'm grabbing hold of her.
Yeah, so you're dragging her.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be doing that then.
Cool.
trying to encourage her to walk, because I'm not that strong.
No, she won't be uber responsive to you.
Guys, I need help.
Guys.
Patrick's gonna help. I wonder where Al is.
Al has actually been listening intently, almost to the point of not noticing when the first time Burn says he needs help.
Yeah.
And then
Guys.
he'll, at the second time, he'll be like, what?
Mila just stopped walking. But can either of you help, please?
Mila, are you okay?
She's like grumbling and like dropping to her knees.
We need to make sure that we're by Tyra.
Well, here's the thing about that. The large owl-like creatures have passed by you now completely, hauling the cage. Minon of Sth has continued on. Tyrath goes a good 60, 80 feet in front of you before you even notices anything is up. And he stands where he is, and he lets the ones with the crates, watch the creatures with the crates pass him by. And he simply stands there and looks at you for a moment.
Oh boy.
Come on.
Yeah, I can try to help, but I don't know what's wrong though.
Al's going to
Figure it out.
do an assessment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like,
roll me a D100, please.
all right. I got a 94.
Mila is sitting down, clutching her head. That's all you know. She doesn't have any rash on her, but the reasons for this could be 100-fold, unfortunately.
Right.
Until you can't get a good diagnosis out of this.
He's going to squat down and he's going to say, Mila, what's wrong?
There's a lot of fire.
Fire?
Yeah.
DM,
Yeah?
I'd like to sense fire.
Sure. Sure. You use that skill. All right. So you can sense open flames approximately 40 feet to the south, but you're able to see that those are the flames of coals cooking what appears to be some sort of tiny mammal on a skewer on a stick that's being rolled over it. The rest of the fires that you sense are very, very minor and inconsequential, similar to the cooking fire that you can see with your eyes.
Tom will just shake his head.
Al will say, "Where's the fire, Amelia?"
I don't know. Her expression suddenly changes more to Nora.
Right.
You think? You don't know?
We lost the accent, so.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know. Suddenly there's a lot of fire and I'm woken up.
Right. Well, I'm not expert in that, but that's never good when you switch just like that. Do you know for any reason or anything that might have set it off? Something that you saw or heard or...
What the hell's going on? My head hurts, Al.
Alright. Al's gonna look to Tyrath. Tyrath?
He blinks slowly at you.
Nora is... I don't know exactly the details of it, but she's sensitive psychically. Something here is causing her a really severe headache. Is there anywhere we can go or any place we might be able to relieve that or help with that?
We are going to Minon of Sth's market stall. Are you requesting that I assist Mila?
No, I'm fine. I'll be okay. I don't know what happened there. We'll talk about it later or something. Let's just continue on.
All right. No.
She'll kind of stumble up to her feet.
Al will support her and say, no, never mind, Tyrath. I think we're fine. He'll say, and then look worriedly at Nora.
She doesn't look at you. She's kind of has her head tilted down.
Tyrath will swivel his head back towards the large metal crates that are being carried off further and further away down the street. They're beginning to bend the corner. He'll turn back towards you and says, "Are you able to move your legs?"
Is he talking to me?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I can move them.
Then I suggest you do so quickly. And with that, he will turn himself around, his tail hitting the cobbled street, and continue to follow the parade of his specimens in Minon of Sth. You guys follow? You guys catch up?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure you guys can have your own adventures here in the Splin Dimensional Market.
No.
It'd be fun.
No,
you're good. You're good.
Slaves are doing.
At the very
beginning.
At the
Funny
very
you might mention that.
He said, "Hey, don't wander too far away from me. God dang it."
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking that the entire time, like, well, this is a bad situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do catch up.
Yes.
Oh, give me just one moment here.
So.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Oh, I was just going to launch into... Never mind.
All right. Anywho, you guys, you guys eventually, very quickly, hopefully, catch up with Minon of Sth, the insectoids, and of course, a Tyrath. Excuse me, I'm having some belchies going on here. It's awful. There he is. Okay, so you get to Minon of Sth's stall, and it is very, very large, but it is not one of these marble or wooden or finely paved stone stalls. This appears to be a more temporary establishment, and it is it is tent-like, right? But it's not your typical big top tent or canvas tent that you're familiar with on Earth. What's interesting about this tent is that it has a huge metal pole, probably standing straight in the center of it, going a good 50 feet into the air. And instead of your traditional tent flaps, streaming from this big metal shining pole are threads, like threads, the collection of like tiny threads. And it makes the very top of the tent almost look like a big spider web, right? And these threads are just made of all the precious metals, of copper, silver, gold, platinum, in addition to what appears to be either silken threads or cotton threads or goodness knows threads of vegetation that you have never seen and may never ever see again, you know? But it is a vibrant network, a vibrant webbing of which you now stand under. And his marketplace has what appears to be large, flat stone desks, or I guess you could say troughs, on either side, stretching the entire length of this 100-foot area. It's in these troughs that you see a collection of items, right? In particular, out of all the ones that you do see there's a whole lot of gems or a whole lot of precious stones. But at this point, Piph, your Creat, Ed, is just going nuts, right? This is high magic, and in fact, typically you guys can't sense magic on its own, right? You require a special spell or a special psionics, but suffice to say, it reverberates so intensely underneath this storefront that Al and Patrick, even though you're magic novices, right? Even though sometimes Al, with his lessons with Lee, had a hard time tuning in to the magical ebb and flow of the universe, it's like a high frequency that just shimmers through you. You can feel it in your teeth and in your bones, right? This is just intense magical items in this tent. And in the far back, you see silver cages in a very traditional cage manner, not those big, bulky, not viewer, not the type of cages that the little bugs are in, right? Where it's really just a big metal box with an eye slit and a feeding tube. These ones are the more traditional, barred cage, right? And there's 3 of them back there, and they're completely empty at this point. And Minon of Sth gestures for Tyra to come to one of the troughs itself, and you can hear them start to haggle over some of the stones. Tyrath points a finger, and he points towards a jet black stone. And you recognize that stone as well. That is the exact same stone. 2 of them were used when you did the mind-body transference between your old bodies and your current ones. Those were the stones that were put in the mouths of the dead bodies that you now inhabit. And they begin to haggle over it. Minon of Sth talks about he wants to know the creatures that I brought, if they can breathe, right? If they can create more of them, how strong they are, how tough they are. And Tyrath, in his low, rumbling voice, begins to detail him in as much as you can. He's, by the sounds of it, Tyrath is really drumming up these creatures about never being seen before in a far-off area, a perversion of science, the whole thing. As they begin to haggle, You hear a small, tinny sound of a trumpet. And Minon of Sth kind of perks his ears, and he gives a yell in the far back of the room. He goes, yes, 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 bring them in, bring them in. It's a little early, but that's fine. I'll finish with my dear friend, and then we'll start the auction. And with that, you can see off beyond the side of the tent, you can kind of just see a glimmer of motion still.
Okay, forget the August idea. Yeah, okay. Do some sweet talking, Al.
In the immediate, if we were to do this...
Right, their opinions.
Yeah, my opinion fucking matters. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's... I listen, I'm like a prepubescent boy looking at titties. It's pretty much the same thing for how I feel about
Leon.
Whatever his name is. Leon.
You want Leon to jump up and down?
Who doesn't? But no, anyways, please continue, Burn.
So in the immediate, if we were to save Leon, and if we were to burn our boon, or if we were to cause trouble in order to save Leon, then... I mean, it saves him.
I don't think we should.
I don't think that he would be interested in coming with us. Having him in space is not a good idea. So we would essentially be setting him free in the middle, and I don't fucking know where that goes. In the long term with that plan, if we were to go back to the ship, which I'm hoping we do, the Baron will be expecting those 6 bugs. So we will arrive and go, oh, we collected all 6, but they're gone. And we have nothing for you.
But he knows about the...
Yeah. He knows that if we were just bullshitting, he would still have $6.
Right.
That he could dispense with however he pleases. So we already are in the process. If we burn this, we will piss off the Baron. Yes.
I have an idea.
What?
So, it hinges on one specific thing. Inferno.
Yeah.
Is there a possible way to go back into the Golden Room?
Of course. There's a way.
Okay. So, if this is a market, and it seems that there's exchange, we do have exactly one thing that I think might be actually valuable to these guys.
Like
You're
what?
suggesting we buy him.
Maybe enough for such a thing.
We have the water orb.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Oh, fuck.
You can't see me, but I'm smiling.
What is it? What do we have?
So, the water orb is an intensely magical item that is similar to things that are in this particular marketplace, which seems to be kind of the more high-end, expensive business. It radiates magic by itself, which, in comparison to these things around us, is pretty similar. We could use it as a trade for Leon.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
As a player,
As long as we're able to still get the gem.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, as a player, I like it. As a character, I mean, Al's gonna be, at least we saved one, but it's gonna suck that we're just leaving everyone else there. As a player, though, I'm up for it. Here's a question, though, guys.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question.
Yeah.
What about some of our other magical items? The new Zoot stuff?
I don't have anything on me. Oh, the new Zoot stuff?
Like the bracers, the necklace.
check.
Would we have any of that?
We don't know if that's actually magical,
That's
and
true.
it is
We don't.
all in the stashed in the golden place. The blue sphere, the wired glove, and the jar of thick blue liquid at least is there. The silver medallion, 3-eye goggles, and flat metallic rod might be there. I'm not too sure about the timing, though.
Okay. As a player,
So you have a lot of options. That's
no,
good.
yeah, guys, I'm really conflicted here. As a player, I don't want to give all that stuff up for random NPCs. As a character, Al would give every one of those up in a heartbeat
Squee.
for random NPCs.
We can't save
I-
everyone.
We can't say
I
that.
love my magical doodads more than I don't think any of you can actually believe, and I'm so willing to throw that away for a random NPC we met once, insulted us, and then went away.
Well,
No, I did kind of insult you, didn't you?
no. But
Didn't he?
what I'm saying is, Al would
Ride
want to be
him.
trading for other slaves. Like, why just stop at one? Why not free as many
Because
as we
we
can?
might-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We might only have enough for one.
might.
Don't know until you find out.
We can. We have one person that likes us enough that might be able to tell us what the worth of the orb might be.
Yeah. As a player, I am cool with getting rid of the orb because it's... While we've been in space, it's been a monkey on our back to let's not have anybody touch it, see it, anything like that. Even though it's a literal money printing machine, fuck it, I want to get rid of it
Right.
because of the temptation. It would be a lot easier if we didn't have that option because then we would want to do jobs instead of just cheese it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll agree to anything to get Leon at this point, so
Okay,
my
okay.
opinion is really, really...
I think we're all up for.
Okay.
I think we're all up for giving the water orb for Leon. Here's what we should decide as, I guess, players, so that I can rationalize as a character. I would like to play Al, in the sense of, let's ask it this way: are there other magical items we're okay losing for the sake of character playing? In other words, like, are there any magical items that we don't use? Like, for example, the witching weapon that no one ever uses. That, you know, and part of it might be we haven't had much of a chance to use it. Part of it's just no one uses it. I mean, are there any things that we don't use that we don't think we need that might save someone's life that we as players are okay giving away if it's enough? Like Hannibal.
I
I am going to stab you.
That's getting rid of one beloved NPC for another one. One that doesn't insult you and walks away, by the way. One that loves you
One that just loves you unconditionally, yeah.
and licks your face. I also want to just say as a GM is that of course, there are a bunch of opportunities available to you, right? And I plan on role-playing anything that you guys plan on doing. Most of this will involve talking with Tyra, so keep that in mind, too.
Yeah, I was
What
about to say we should probably do some role-playing stuff to kind of gauge what things are worth, you know?
Actually, we might be able to possibly save some more. We have a few items that are just sitting there. We do use them every once in a while, but I'm talking about the speed mushrooms, the dream mushrooms, the food mushrooms, and the healing mushrooms, which specifically Tyrath asked us to get.
Very true. I think that before we roleplay, I think it might be a good idea to make a short list of these are items that we are okay giving up. That way we can see how valuable those items are instead of trying to see. You know, there's no point in praising of item that we are not letting go. So.
Okay, here. Let me actually scroll up to the sell list and go group, and then I'm gonna put water orb on here. Now, is there anything else I should add here?
I'm good.
Okay.
Such a bitch, I'm
Here's a
sorry.
question. The club that turns into a flaming sword. Does anyone use? I think Mila's the only one who can use it. Mila, do you have interest in using that, or do you want to stick to your hammer?
I have a hammer. I got my hammer.
I would personally want to keep that
Do you
because
have
it was a
blunt?
gift.
But you don't have blunt.
No, but it I don't give a shit. I want to keep it.
So-
it was
so-
a gift
so-
from our
so-
buddy Verd.
And that's more
Blunt.
important than a
No,
slave's
no,
life.
no. I don't want to hear any justifications or anything. That was a gift.
No.
I
You're
wanna
gonna
fucking
hear this
keep it, okay?
justification. That's more important than a slave's life.
Yes.
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Listen, it's
Well.
a dog-eat-dog world there, Al.
I will have
can't-
to completely disagree with that. What do the other two think?
What? Let him keep the
Um,
fucking sword. Jesus. Who cares? We got Leon.
You're being very unhelpful.
Well, too bad. You know what? You ask her for opinion.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah,
get to
it's
pick and choose
it's
what
one of
it
those
is.
things. It's just like if somebody really wants to keep an item, I'm not gonna stop them.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
not.
if it's,
all right,
it's
all right.
something
So
he
we
wants to
keep the
keep,
sword.
maybe he wants to use in the future.
You mean the club?
The club. What? Yes.
Yeah.
May I provide a suggestion? Is that okay?
Yes.
Sure.
God.
Okay. This might be another case. Now, I don't want to telegraph what happens in the future or anything like that, but we might be putting the cart before the horse, right? You don't even know if this guy's going to even want to sell him to you. You don't even know what he's going to go for. You don't know what the deal with Leon is. Maybe he already has a buyer or whatever, right? So how about before you guys start listing off possible magic items that you might be able to trade for, maybe for a slave, maybe we should do a little bit of role play, and you guys can be able to figure out your options then, and then haggle over what you want to be rid of or not, right? It just might be a little bit faster, but if you guys want to prepare ahead of time and get a list all ready to go, I'm not going to stop you. But that's just my suggestion.
I think Inferno is right. Maybe we should do a little bit of role playing before we
Sure.
get super ahead of ourselves.
Sure.
Okie dokie. So yeah, you see Leon with the Zombitron on him, along with the rest of the other slaves, and they're all led into the cage, and they're all very docile. They don't say anything. They just stare off blankly with wet eyes, and the cage closes behind them. And Minon of Sth kind of just gives them a quick look over, and then turns back towards Tyra and their haggling.
Oh boy. So they're haggling. Okay. I don't want to interrupt them.
Okay. But you want to address Tyrath at the earliest possibility?
Yes.
It takes another minute or two until their haggling kind of finishes, and they finally come to an agreement that, and you overhear that it'll be that stone for now, and a future favor that Tyrath will call upon, a favor that is worth no more than the equivalent of 100,000 units of trade. And that the conversation dies down as Minon of Sth begins to prepare the gem for packaging, for lack of a better word.
Tyrath.
Swivels his head. Kinsmen. You see Minon of Sth kind of give a glare over at you. The look he gives you is if, like your friend is now having a conversation with his pet. Like, what is he doing, right? But please continue.
Would you know if any of those slaves would be for trade or sell?
Tyrath pauses for a moment, and he looks over to Minon of Sth. Minon of Sth looks at him for a moment, blankly, and then you see Tyrath give a bit of a sigh, and he says, "The creatures you have in the cages back there, what do you intend to do with them? Are they currently for sale?" Minon of Sth looks from Patrick to Tyrath. And when he responds, he looks directly at Tyrath. He pays Patrick absolutely no mind. And he says, yes, actually. I'm beginning my auction in a few rotations very, very soon. I'm sure you've noticed the unicorn there in the corner. Tyrath gives a nod. He goes, interesting story about that little creature. You know, when he first came around, I got 800 million units of trade for him. Oh, it was wonderful. But then he escaped his captor. But we got him again. This time 600 million units of trade. The little bastard escaped again. And a third time. I'm getting diminishing returns on that little thing, and if I can't sell him soon enough, I think I'm going to just butcher him for his parts, make more of a profit that way. Can I interest you on a unicorn's horn, perhaps? Tyrath blinks a little bit, looks over to Patrick.
Tyra looks over at Patrick and is like, can you believe this guy?
No, that's not the expression he has. In fact, the expression Tyrath looks over at Kinsman. He asks, are you satisfied with that answer?
I would like to try my chances and purchase the whole unicorn, if I'd be so kind.
You hear a sound that sounds like an organ bellowing coming from Minon of Sth, coming out of the tubes that he uses to communicate. And it takes a while, but you realize his shoulders are moving up and down and that he's laughing. And he says, I will not conduct business with a slave. That is preposterous. Tyrath will raise his hand, and he'll look to Kinsman, and he'll say, as you can see, your kind rarely does business, and Minon of Sth is very particular. However, for a small, minor favor, I could be your representative. Ensure that everything goes smoothly, everything is communicated properly, and that you are not at any risk of being deceived.
I think that is a well and fair trade.
Tyrath raises a clawed finger and says, may I remind you, Kinsman, that you are in a very foreign area. The denizens of Splin and those who run it cherish unicorns very well, and although that one is dangerous and by the sounds of it temperamental, they are extremely expensive. I am not aware of you having resources or the political clout in order to purchase one, unless there is something I am not aware of. Perhaps you should be negotiating with me before you negotiate with Minon.
Yes. I have a small area that I keep my goods. Would you be okay with traveling there?
Yes, Kinsman. In fact, I am aware of it. The jewel used to communicate with me helps me scry to know exactly where you might be and where it lays. I have sensed you travel to a dimensional pocket from time to time. I said you always surprised me. I was just waiting to hear when you were going to tell me that was one of your tricks.
Sadly, there is a small restriction on the means of getting there. And he's going to pull out the bag a bit.
Tyrath extends his clawed fingers and says, "May I have it, please?"
Well, he will hand it over.
Tyrath clutches the bag and traces his fingers over the runic draconic that is written upon the leather flap on the other side. He returns it back to you and he says, "This might have restrictions, but Tyrath, the Undying, has none." And he claps his hands, and guys, Patrick and Tyrath are now gone in a flash of purple light.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you are now alone.
Huh.
Oh my god, just give me a second. I'm going to be doing 2 different role plays. One between Tyrath and Patrick, and the rest between Minon of Sth and you guys that are left
boy.
behind. So let's do Patrick and Tyrath first. You arrive quite suddenly upon the little kitchen area of the golden place. Everything shimmers with glittering gold, and you both arrive upon the glittering gold kitchen table, in which Tyrath gently steps off of, and he looks around and he says, "This is, word for it, adorable."
Oh, sorry.
Patrick then squats down on the kitchen table and scoots himself off.
Okay. Tyra soon steps off the table as well as he looks around.
Oh, and he's going to go to a dresser and open it up. He's going to take out the orb.
Okay. Tyrath looks upon the orb with curious reptilian eyes, and he says, "Where did you find that?"
What were those things called?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
The Max Parries, everyone's favorite enemy.
It seems like the Max Parries were worshipping or something this, and it is powerful enough to imbue knowledge and has its own magic source.
"May I have it for a moment?" he asks as he extends a clawed hand out towards you.
Patrick will do so.
The orb fits very firmly in his hands. It was a very large stone orb, but Tyrath is able to heft it quite easily. He pauses for a moment, and it only takes a few seconds before he returns it to you. He says, "When I recovered the strange bits of fungus that I sent you on, I recall asking you if you found anything else. You found this and kept this from me." And he extends a little finger and wags it slowly in front of your face. "Bad kinsman. But I can overlook this for now. Perhaps I was not particular in how I speak. Regardless, this is a relic of great power. Its power comes in its limitlessness. It was designed very well. Although, if you are wondering if this is the price of a unicorn, I'm afraid I am not a merchant, only an advisor and a potential representative of you humans. The only person who could value it properly would be Minon of Sth himself, although if you were to choose me as your representative, I would assure that he would not cheat you, for that would mean he would cheat me, and that would ruin our long and prosperous relationship.
We don't have much more in the ways of a relic. This would probably be our main token, and I'm unsure if anything else that we would show would suffice.
Tyrath gives a small shrug of his robed shoulders and says, "Once again, I am no merchant." Now I'm going to pause for a moment and say, now this, since Patrick isn't in the Golden Room, now that we have all our answers, now this might be a good way that if there's anything else you want to take from the Golden Room just to see, you know what I mean? And maybe not to buy Leon, but to buy someone else or whatever, now that we have at least something established, something that you guys are trying to do and you're working towards, now this might be a good time to go through maybe a few magic items and say, should we take this along? Should we not? Is it worth it? Blah, blah, blah. So I'll let you guys suss that amongst yourselves before we continue the roleplay, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we last left off... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Squee.
I was gonna say, so where were we?
Oh, so when we last left off, you guys were debating whether to do the magic club that Ver gave you, right? And Byrne vetoed it because he wanted to keep it.
And that's
so what else were you guys thinking of? Yeah.
The mushrooms. I'm fine with it. Byrne mentioned them. Is everyone else okay with those?
Similar to the orb situation. That was something else that we kept from Tyrath.
Actually, I don't. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I believe he knew about it and said he didn't need them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
he said something along the lines of he senses that we are keeping a few, but you did get me what I asked for.
Right.
I think that was what was said.
So if he knows about them, I can't imagine him getting upset now if he didn't get upset then.
He's getting a little too friendly with Patrick. Anyone else getting a little like?
No. I support this shipping.
I'm sorry,
completely.
the void is never coming back. Criana.
Look, Criana, imagine the sugar daddy potential.
Listen, OTPs. I have to just hope for the void to return. You know, I just have to, and I think at least one other person who watches these videos and remember who the fuck he is, because I barely do.
I do.
I remember him vividly.
Yes.
Is this the void?
The void.
Yeah.
How does he know? He wasn't even listening. He knows who we're talking about.
Wow, I was just guessing. I'm like, what NPC really happened a couple of... I just came back. So I'm like, wait, they're talking about NPC a long time ago, can barely remember, and I just threw out the void because I remember Patrick really liked them, so... That's that.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, voice changer's really useful.
Mm-hmm. We just used the 3-eye goggles, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I'm not up for that. Here's the ones that I'm thinking off the top of my head. The glove, we never use the glove, and from what I understand, its damage is nice, but not fantastic. And we never use it.
It's 3d6 MDC.
Right. The mushrooms, obviously. Maybe the protection.
Blue sphere?
What's the blue sphere do we know?
Thrown in the air and clapped 3 times, the sphere disintegrates into specks of dust that cover a 30-foot area. The specks stick to everything it touches and glows brightly. Clap 3 more times and the dust reassembles back into the form of a sphere in the palm of the thrower.
While I could certainly see uses for it, I can't see it being useful very often.
Not in space.
Yeah, I'd be kind of okay with that one.
Jar of thick blue liquid. By demonstration.
That one is in particular, I'm not quite sure. Like, it's basically you can climb things.
I think
it
so.
allows incredible attachment between 2 objects. So it's kind of like in 3 Galaxies, your bubblegum, in a sense.
Yeah, from what I remember, he basically stuck his hand in the jar, got a bit on his palm, stuck it to the wall, lifted himself up from that, and then actually put himself back down on the ground and immediately released it by will, I think.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. I mean, I could see getting rid of it, maybe, but...
it's something that like I think would generally be useful, but out of all of them, would probably be the least useful. And I don't think we even brought it up to like use it at pretty much any time.
I'd completely forgotten about it until this moment. That one, like, I could see more uses for the blue orb than the sticky, because like here's my thinking of it. The sticky thing is nice, it's useful, but we're resourceful. We can find ways to climb objects.
Yeah.
The blue orb, again, I don't know if we understand fully what it does, but it looks like it can illuminate and track targets, which is nice, but not vital.
I mean, if we're all in a 30-foot area, all of us, and we throw the sphere up and clap 3 times, like if we were in that cave with the max parries, we wouldn't have to worry about a light source. We are the light source. Because all of us glow brightly, like as if we in 13th Age, as if we're torches, that kind of thing. We become torches.
Do we know if it has limited uses or not?
No.
But from what Patrick has been able to decipher, it seems to have unlimited uses.
Okay, so that is kind of useful. I know Patrick has his ring that can create starlight, but I mean, I agree. I mean, see, well, and here's going to be the problem. All of them are useful. I mean, they're magical items, or at least...
Yeah,
that's why I'm smiling when you guys mentioned the blue orb. I'm smiling so much because like all this stuff is useful. This is all coming at a cost, which is great. Which is, I mean, if it was nothing, who gives a shit, right? This isn't back when you guys had hundreds of millions of credits or like 100 million credits. You're like, yeah, sure, I can buy it. Right now this is tricky. This is trade, man. This is barter. This is something.
I can see getting rid of the wired glove if Piph doesn't want it.
I have used it a few times, and it's pretty neat. I like it, but I'm not willing to like keep it for the sake of like some person's enslavement or not.
Yeah. If absolutely necessary, I guess we can get rid of the club. But the thing is, I like it. Eventually, I want to learn how to use WP Blunt, and just the idea of somebody using it, turning on the fire sword, and then me super fueling that, I like.
Which I can do. This is definitely a moment where players will trump characters. As a player, I don't care if you want to keep it, and I control Al, believe it or not.
Al, really?
Oh, I know, right?
Sure.
Al, here's the thing. Al would be
you.
pissed if he knew that was the reason, but let's just not make that a reason. I'm fine as a player.
Deal with it.
Exactly. So we don't have to worry about that one. Yeah. The 3 goggles is too useful. The voice changer, there's 100 different ways that could save our asses. The mushrooms we don't need. Is there anything else I'm missing? Okay.
Well, we have 28 dream mushrooms.
Right. Here's the ones
we can get rid of like 10.
Here's the ones I'm really kind of on the fence on, which is the protection, like the amulet. And here's why I'm thinking, because yes, it's protection, it's nice. Hell, it saved Al's life, literally. However, it is finite, and when it's out, it's useless to us. A lot of the stuff we're keeping are things that will continue to be useful for us as long as we have them. That thing, one battle that goes badly and it's gone. It's pointless. It's just a necklace. That one I'm kind of...
It's got 575.
Yeah, but we all know how fast that can... Oh,
that's
no.
Well,
here's my thing.
On it.
I'm not suggesting, again, just like with everything else, not that it's not very useful, but that it has a finite usefulness. So if we're going to get rid of something, I'd rather get rid of something that won't always be useful.
I guess.
But like I said, I'm
can
on the fence.
See it if Piph and Criana would be fine with that. I can see the silver medallion going along with the wired glove, along with the jar of thick blue liquid.
And the mushrooms. And I think
I
that's
just
good.
got boobs on my mind.
I'm not too sure about all the mushrooms.
Well, no, but some of them at least. And then just see what that gets us.
Yeah.
Because that's given up a lot of stuff already. Is everyone in agreement with that?
I think so.
Yes.
Okie dokie. So let me go back into the roleplay. So, Patrick, would you collect the items that were just mentioned out of character?
Yes.
Okay. So you collect them, out of sight. Minon of Sth startles for a moment. He looks towards you, quirks an eye. He stares at you for a moment. Doesn't say anything just now.
Mm-hmm. Tom's just staring back, kinda.
Al will
Nora's-
wave.
The way everyone's well.
Nora's just kind of looking at the ground, nothing in particular.
So I remember when Tyra said to, follow him closely. How the fuck are we supposed to follow him there?
Al waves at him through his teeth, going, "I have no idea."
Minon of Sth gestures towards the cages, and you saw these figures, just a little fractions of them as they were shuffling people into the cage, but now you can see them very, very clearly as Minon of Sth gestures them towards him. And they are two humans. Actually, sorry, that's not true. One is a human, one is an ogre. Ogre is a very, very huge, almost like a giant-esque. He's about 9 feet tall, very muscly, got himself a bit of a pot belly, right? Big trunk-like legs, right? And the human, who seems to also be in very good athletic shape. And they start walking towards Minon, and they flank him on either side. And you notice that these guys are covered in tattoos of various types, of lightning bolts, of animals, of designs, everything. Their upper bodies, their bare upper bodies, are just a tapestry of tattoos.
Huh.
And they stand there, and you notice on each of their left wrists is a bracelet with a silver bell on it. And they cross their arms and they stare at you blankly, firmly. Minon of Sth brings a hand up to the little holes on his lower mouth. A few more seconds pass by, and he says, "If Tyra doesn't return soon, I can only assume you're no longer under his protection."
He'll be returning soon.
Al will look at him with a very serious face and say, "I don't think you're dumb enough to really believe that. Or risk it."
Shit. You kind of just called him dumb, man. Why'd you have to do
No,
He
I
doesn't
said the
think he's
opposite.
dumb enough.
I called him smart.
His eyes squint for a moment, and he says, "Say one more word to me, elf, and I'll sell you to the Meltza as food."
Charming fellow, isn't he?
Al will turn to Nora and say, yeah, he is. Very charming.
Good salesman.
Minon of Sth looks to the ogre on his right. He looks to the human on his left. He points to Al. He points to Mila and says, "Add them to the rest." They begin to move. Mm-hmm.
Al turns around and says, "I may not be anything to you, but we both know Tyrath. Are you really willing to risk his wrath?"
As almost you summoned him with your very words, Al, a purple flash of light, hairs on the back of your necks stand up, and back again appears Tyrath and Patrick, and Patrick has a few items in his hand. Minon of Sth gives a bit of a huff through the tubes in his mouth. He looks over to Tyrath, and he looks to his tattooed brutes. He tells them to go away now. He's going to conduct business. And they meander themselves back towards the cages.
Al quietly lets out a breath.
Yay!
And you thought possession was going to be the most terrifying thing that happened to you.
I know!
You know what's even sadder? You guys don't know what a meltzer is yet.
That was completely appropriate, Criana.
Yeah, I feel like that's the face Nora gives to what's his face.
Maybe he is, though. We didn't say anything to him. Yeah.
Just seeing the gif right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's
same
just
here.
Yeah, fuck you. Alright. Our homie Tyrath is here. Alright.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tyrath and Patrick show up again. Tyrath then steps far away, a few feet away from Minon of Sth, and he addresses you, and he says, Kinsman has assembled some items he will attempt to trade for Minon of Sth. However, we have not yet agreed on my particulars. Do you wish for me to be your representative in this current transaction?
I do.
Good. Then I have a small favor already in mind. You are the types of individuals who travel often. Many times you have asked as a part of my boons, as using my vast magic to portal or transport you from one area of the world or the galaxy to the next. My boon is simple. I will be your representative, and I will provide you one additional transportation to a location you desire. However, during that transportation, I request we take a very small word for you. Detour. I know a race of curious beings, astral beings, who like to examine all potential life. As we transport from one area of the universe to the next, I ask that they will examine you. I assure you, you will not be physically or mentally harmed. They are not malevolent creatures.
Yeah.
I am okay with this, but I'll have to ask the others.
Tom will nod.
Nora, still grasping her head, nods.
Al will nod.
Good. Then with that, for your stay or our short stay here in Splin and in its dimensional market, I will be your representative. I will only ask this. Are you sure you want that creature? And he points over to the unicorn. It seems badly damaged, and apparently it escapes quite often. If you were to take it, I cannot guarantee it would not flee the second you remove that Zombitron from its head.
Guys?
Patrick's thinking. He might second guess and be like, you know what, you're right. He is damaged goods.
I like a unicorn with two eyes, please.
Seriously though.
As I noted before, I'll take my chances. Sorry, I'm laughing out of character.
I see. And with that, he gestures for all of you to return to the trough the stone trough that Minon uses to display his goods. And he looks upon all of you now with curiosity. He still looks upon the rest of you with derision, but with the sense of almost good humor in his yellow-crossed, black, deep brown eyes. He looks to Tyrath and he says, Tyrath, you are now a middleman. This shall be interesting. I must say, this is a first, and due to my respect of you, I will not argue. But in my tens of thousands of transactions I've done throughout my long life, I have never done so with humans, and only twice other with elves. And the elves were a very desperate situation when I was very young and foolish. Very well, you wish to shop at my emporium. What can I interest you in? And for the first time, when it wasn't threatening you with slavery or being fed to something, he looks at you as customers.
Yeah, I'm here with my boy Tyra. Yo, what's up, girl?
What do you say? I'll let you guys figure it out.
I am interested in purchasing some slaves, but in particular that unicorn.
You hear that organ sounding coming from his mouth again as he laughs. And he says, well, for your first transaction here on the Emporium, I'm sure you want to go big. I guess I misspoke by complaining how troublesome he is. You are going to probably knock me down to barely nothing. But let me explain something to you. I am not interested in any sort of universal trade goods trade credits that you might have. Unicorns, regardless of how damaging or troublesome they are valuable. You would have to interest me of a relic. He pauses for a moment. He looks right at Al and he says, in fact, the Meltza are having a... Oh, wait, just give me a second. I got to check out my notes because there's a name here. Oh, yeah. In Meltza Zyme has put up a rune weapon as a prize to the victor of a local tournament. It might be interesting because Meltzas would love to have you all try to compete, for they dine on the losers, and many of them have developed quite the palate for human flesh, and elven is a delicacy to them. Perhaps you should fight and trade me the rune weapon for the unicorn.
Al will look at him and say,
Unless you want to come to a different... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I say, Al will look at him in a straight face and say, well, as I am both, I might be too strong for their tastes.
The only strong thing you have, Elf, is your arrogance and your stubbornness. But that is easy of your kind. Regardless, we are digressing. We are here to trade goods, not insults. Am I right? He looks to Tyrath, and you know that look? Okay. I remember this. Okay, so I was in church, and there was a stupid little kid who would wander on by the altar, right? And the priest is trying to conduct mass, and the priest would, he took the kid, and he'd bring him back to his mom, and everyone had a little laugh, right? The second time he did it, the priest picked up the kid, gave him on, and made some sort of joke about him being the priesthood. The third time that kid did it, the priest brought the child to his mother. He made another joke, but then he gave her a look, which is, don't you let this fucking kid out of my sight, or God help you. It was so brief and so intense. It stuck with me for years. That's the look Minon of Sth just gave Tyrath. Anyway, as he was saying, and then Minoth continues. Regardless, I deal with magical relics, so adding one to my collection would be worthwhile. However, he says, there is one other avenue of payment I've done before, which is a barter agreement. You exchange a favor for me, and I put the unicorn aside until the favor is completed to absolute satisfaction. He then, his brown, yellow-crossed eyes, looks over to the collection of items that Patrick has in his hands.
Oh. I am unfamiliar with too much of this particular trade market, but if I understand my understanding of runic weapons and such things, and he's actually going to kind of shift a lot of the items in his arms to different spots so he can actually hold a lot of them in one arm and the orb in the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
This should be more than enough.
I shall be the judge on that, human. What is it? What does it do?
Well, I believe it can tell you all that you know just by touching it.
Then may I touch it?
Yes. And he's going to hold up... I'm sure this thing is much larger than him, and he's holding his arm up towards him.
Well, not too much, right? It's about the size of... I explained its dimensions before, but I think it's a few feet. It's about like 1.5 feet in diameter, perhaps. So it's a good chunky size. He raises up, and before Minon of Sth touches the thing, he looks at Tyrath and he says, "You assure my safety?" Tyrath nods his head and he says, "I assure your safety. What the human says is true. Touching it will give you an insight into its power." He gives a bit of a nod. He brings his orange hand to grasp it. And it's only for a few seconds. He takes his hand off of it for a moment. And he says, "Unlimited. Unlimited." And he stands there in thought for a moment. And he goes, "I do not know how something as weak as you could have come across something so unique. But I admit I am intrigued. Is there anything else about this that I should know before we continue?"
Patrick looks at it. No, I believe that is everything that is needed to be known of this. Story of obtaining it, I do not think makes this any more or less powerful.
Well, a kid will go nuts for this. Very well. You have an agreement. That orb of water for the unicorn. Much better than what I would have gotten him for parts anyway. In my custom, we make a vow to seal a transaction. Shall we do so now?
It is... My mind immediately goes, I could probably get more than just the unicorn for this. And my other senses are also going, you know what? Maybe not the best place to push things, but...
Well, find out what your fellow thinkers in your mind, your fellow players, might think about that then. If you're torn.
I'm biased. I don't want to risk it.
I
Just
say
get
don't
Leon.
risk it. Don't risk it. just get Leon, and we can use the other stuff to
just
see
get
what we
Leon.
can get.
Okay.
We're in
All right,
agreement.
then.
It's
Yeah,
unanimous.
it is. I am sure. I am sure in my hearts and hearts that this man is getting a steal out of this in more ways than one. But I am not going to try to push for anything more.
Okay. Then you agree, and they says, good, stay there. And he'll go to the ogre tattooed man, and he'll say, Kothal, bring it out. Bring out the unicorn here. Right here, center. And sure enough, the ogre does so. He leads Leon, comatose, his eyes wet and blurry, completely hanged stone face, as he is led by the scruff of his blonde hair towards the center of the room. And Minon of Sth gestures for you to stand opposite of him. He's standing next to the unicorn. He gestures for you and Tyra to stand across from him. And he says, all right, human, I will go through this slowly so you can understand. Repeat after me. I give you this good.
I give you this good.
And with that, the unicorn moves over to your side and he outstretches his hand for the orb.
Patrick will hand it over.
In honest faith.
In honest faith.
And if I cheat you.
And if I cheat you.
May I be killed and torn asunder for eternity.
So it starts with if I cheat you.
And if I cheat you.
And if I cheat you, I'll be killed and torn asunder.
For how long?
For eternity.
Good. The vow is done. The transaction is complete. Thank you very much for shopping at my emporium.
Hey, question, Inferno. So, this trade thing, did Tyra do that with him while exchanging for that particular rock?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, he did not.
Well, fuck.
Well, that was fun. We got a unicorn, guys.
Yeah,
Leon blinks.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
And a free Zombatron.
Oh my.
That might come in use.
What? Yeah, right. Patrick could dissect it like he did the others.
No, I'm talking about for the Baron's procedure thing. Unless Tyrath is gonna do it.
What?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
I don't
know
what's
how to
going
move.
on.
Look, I may be a cyber doctor now, but come on, there are limits.
Patrick's just like, all right, I seen him do this once.
Got it.
Yeah.
Say hello to Mr. Furryface.
Out of character, I think anyone but Al might want to handle the will he be willing to trade anyone else for these items part. He doesn't seem to be very fond of Al for some reason.
Oh.
Gee, I wonder why.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure he likes Nora a lot better.
Hey, at least she's cute.
To be honest.
That's true. He could sell you as a great accessory.
Yeah, that's true.
To be honest,
I mean, look at
Al,
those. You see that?
I don't know what to do with the slave. Sorry, Squee specifically. I don't know. Like, say we purchase one. What do we do with it?
Well, what are we gonna do with Leon?
Well, I believe he can get around on his own. Best guess.
Possibly.
Can
And
the
if
GM
you
throw
can't-
in something?
Sure.
Can the GM throw in something?
Yeah.
Tyrath did offer a free teleport somewhere.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
Mm.
Yeah, so we take them with us, and then basically, oh my god, we take them with us. They stay on the Rhapsody for 4 months, and then go their ways. I mean, we don't have any other options. We have to teleport back to the Rhapsody.
No, I'm quite sure Tyrath is not going to be like, your one free teleport is back to your
No,
life.
yeah.
Oh,
And that is
okay.
correct.
Okay,
It's an
okay.
addition.
Then we teleport them back to someplace.
Tyrath is still interested in doing this boon, right? Like
Right.
the original boon for the Baron. So all that is still going to be encompassing,
Okay.
right? This is, he mentioned, you guys like to go all over the place. I'm going to give you a free, well, a
Okay.
part of my agreement is a teleport as long as we take a pit stop so my buddies can look at you.
Okay, so we teleport him back to someplace safe, like New Laszlo.
So what we could do with that extra...
Mm-hmm.
No, never mind.
What are you thinking, Bird?
What idea did you have, Squee?
I had an idea. Okay,
Tell me.
In song,
Great
too.
song, yeah, it's musical.
we teleport to New
He
Laszlo.
had an idea.
We teleport to
sorry.
New Laszlo, and while we happen to be there, we have Tyrath take a look at a certain person.
That would add on to the boon.
Yeah.
The not boon.
Maybe,
That's like
maybe not. No,
being
like-
okay, we'll take your pit stop if we take a pit stop
Well,
too.
well, hang on. Maybe not. If we're not, if we're asking him to do something about it, sure. But maybe if we're just asking him, "Hey, Tyrath, you like interesting things. Tell me what this is." He might not think it's a boon.
This bitch be interesting, yo.
Yeah, like hey, Tyrath, check this out. What's this? And he might find it interesting enough to
It's
just
all
What's up with
about
this?
phrasing.
exactly.
It's all about phrasing.
But my only thought
Okay.
is, if we're gonna teleport them somewhere and we have Tyrath with us, it's a golden opportunity.
Yeah. My thought was to maybe have that whole extra teleport in our pocket. I'm not too sure where we would have Leon or everybody else, but eventually, months, maybe a year down the line, if and when we wanted to go back to Earth, we could just have, use that to just take us and the Rhapsodies to Earth. Just, hey!
No, that won't work. Because I was gonna say, so we have some slaves and a unicorn running around the Rhapsody for 4 months, and we let them go their separate ways, except for the fact that there's no way in the world anyone would believe Leon is a mutant.
Yeah.
I mean, look at him.
No,
Of course he's a mutant.
fucking look, you're fucked up.
But I mean, the point is, I don't think, like, I love the idea of
That's a
keeping
fucking
a teleport
unicorn.
in the back pocket, but I mean, even if it's just Leon, we can't take him back to orbit.
Yeah. Damn it. Okay.
He's got to hunt down Metal Gear.
Don't make fun of my unicorn.
What?
Yeah.
I was
Look,
making a
hey.
What the
reference
hell?
of a really cool character, sir. I don't know what you were thinking.
Hey, Leon's a saint. Hey, love him.
I love him.
I love him.
All right, anyways, where are we? Oh yeah, we just
Sorry.
finished the transaction for the unicorn and the orb. So no more orb.
No
Yep.
more orb.
I'm trying to find it on the group loot. Where did you put it, Piph?
It's
Is
I lost.
You lost it. Well, good thing I had a document of all its powers. Now I'm gonna
Right.
just, you know what? I'm just gonna cut and paste that from current session to past session, and so I'll always have a record of it. but it is
sounds
gone.
In
good.
its place, can you just put a picture of Leon?
No,
No.
I already have a picture of Leon. He's my backdrop. Not really, but still. All right, what do you guys want to do next?
Okay, like I said, someone besides Al should try this next part.
Can't be me.
Yeah, okay.
It's-
Someone besides Al and Nora.
You know what's really funny? I just want to say this right now. If you're dealing with any humans, you want Al because he's a good talker, he's charismatic, and Mila because she's beautiful. Those two reasons are why they are going to be well, actually how they've interacted with our good friend Minon. Has ironically the two people who are really good at talking about this don't want to talk for their own safety.
And I personally don't really care
Although
that
Tyra, I
much.
think promises protection. He said you wouldn't
Nora
be
just
exploited
doesn't
under
care.
his care. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's just in character. Nora doesn't give a shit. She's like,
Gotcha.
let's just go. Let's get out of here.
Kinda.
Well, from Al's point of
Um,
view, he doesn't have to exploit us in order to simply refuse us if he doesn't like who's talking to him. So,
True.
Yeah.
So I guess that's Patrick. What do you want? What do you want to say, Patrick?
Boy. um. You know what? He'll phrase it like this. Out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm holding in my arms, would that be close enough to purchase a human?
He pauses for a moment. He says it depends what you hold in your hands. If they're as powerful as what you just sold me, then there is potential for it, yes. Take me through what you have.
I will say this. It is not that what I gave you is the most powerful thing that I had. So,
And the unicorn was the most valuable slave I had. Your point? You want to do a deal or not?
yes. And Patrick will, one by one, hold up, or hold in one hand and explain what the item is.
So now, just as a refresher for the GM, tell me exactly what you have so I can have Minon of Sth offer you an offer.
Okay, guys, if you could remind me, did we talk about the light orb? Is that there or
No.
not?
Jar of blue liquid. We have the Yip Yip glove. We also have...
Yip glove!
Yes, the Yip Yip glove. We also have the medallion, the silver medallion. We also have mushrooms. I left it vague as to how many mushrooms. I'm kind of thinking like 14 because we have 28 dream mushrooms.
I'm against the mushroom thing.
You're against mushrooms? Then don't fucking worry about the mushrooms.
Okay.
Silver medallion, jar of blue liquid, Yip Yip glove.
So those three things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yip Yip glove, silver medallion, and the jar of blue liquid.
Also, in case it is needed, the silver medallion has 575 overall NBC.
Okay. So he'll look at your goods and he'll kind of give, his eyes will shake a little bit. And he'll say, you certainly did start off with your strongest thing. A good practice for a short transaction, but these baubles are weak. And he looks over to his slave pen. And he says, I have 2 weak slaves. So week for week. That one there, and one's a human, and one is the dwarf, the bearded dwarf. Both of them look sickly. Both of them look underfed. Both of them look very dehydrated. The dwarf, you can't tell the age on him. The short, squat, bearded man. I've just outed him as a dwarf, whatever. But the human looks to be in their 50s. Man, silver hair, like I said, emaciated. He says, those 2 for those.
So I know my answer, guys. You have your 2 cents before I make a decision with our items.
I want a sexy one.
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
I'm not sure we're really in a position to be haggling here.
Yeah.
So I
fine.
say we go with what we got.
How about you, Burton?
I don't care.
Whoa. All right.
I'm sorry, but I don't care.
So,
This is me out of character, by the way.
You guys are cold.
I know, right?
I am.
I'm sorry, my heart went out for the unicorn. I don't know what your beef is.
I don't think that
I'm
was
sorry.
your heart,
I apologize.
Criana.
I apologize.
Don't be judging.
Criana, Criana, I don't
sorry.
think that was your
You're
heart.
right. That was a judgment. And besides, actually, all jokes aside, that was a bit of judgment. As a DM, I should be neutral on any decisions that you guys make and just roll with it. So I feel bad for admonishing you. You do what you do. It's all good.
I think you're human. I don't think it's possible to do that all the time. I think it's fine.
I don't. You can judge me all you want, Inferno, with all the shit I say to you.
You know, good point.
more
I
than
haven't called you a liar and a degenerate yet. So.
I'm sure I've called you much worse.
To be
you have.
completely honest, I honestly wouldn't have minded, leaving Leon too, but that's just me. I don't care.
Oh, big mistake. Big
Criana's
mistake.
buying
Anyways,
a plane
back
ticket
to
right
Sarsa.
now to come strangle you.
Yeah, my island is Maui. Have fun.
Yeah, no.
I live in Mont.
So I think,
Alright.
2 slaves for 2 items. Hey.
3 items.
Huh?
2 slave, 3 items. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, 2 slaves for 3 items?
It's all 3 of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, still, I'm not gonna try and haggle with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not. If maybe I had more clout or idea of what I'm handling, I might do this differently. To be honest, I'm quite sure the orb was, from what I've actually heard from his thing and what I briefly even know about how the orb is in comparison to a runic weapon, probably could have gotten him and maybe like another fairly decent slave. But again, I'm not going to tell him that. You tell him. Mainly because, like, when you're haggling, you don't want to upset the other person. Because then they'll just be like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm not doing it.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
All right, but anyways, in character, you agree.
Yes.
Okay. And then Minon of Sth will say, good, prepare yourself. Do you remember the words to the pact agreement? The bargaining pact?
I'm sure it was a few seconds that he would actually.
Yeah, you do. And we don't have to re-role play it, right? But they trot these 2 people, the older male slave, human slave, and the sickly dwarf. He moves over to his side, your items, and he talks to them as they are things, and the exchange is made, the pact is done, and then once again he clasps his hands and says, "Thank you very much for shopping at my emporium." And he looks to Tyrath. Is there anything else I can interest you in today?
Is he talking to Tyrath or to me?
No, to you. Sorry, to you,
Okay.
Patrick.
That would be everything. Thank you so much for this chance.
He just gives a bit of a nod and then looks to Tyrath. And he asks Tyrath if there's anything else he can do for him. Tyrath says, no, I am fine for now. Thank you, and best of luck in future endeavors. And all fortune to you here in Splin. It is treating you well, I hope. And Minon of Sth says, yes. Very profitable. Had to worry about some raiders from time to time, but Lord Splagrinth tends to keep a tight ship, as tight as he can at least. And Tyrath kind of gives a bit of a nod, and he has that black gem now. He retrieves the black gem that's in a small wooden box. Very beautiful, rich, deep wood that you don't know, you're not familiar with. Neither because you're carpenters, or perhaps it's not from native of Earth, but it has some engravings on top of it. You can't recognize the script, but Tyrath has that in one of his hands, and he goes to you, and he looks at the slaves and the unicorn, and he says, I am interested in continuing our boon. If you were to follow me back to the platform in which we arrived, I'll be able to harness enough energies to return you to where you wish, where we last left off. In fact, in order to speed things along, I'd be more interested in bringing you right to the subject in which I will be doing this favor for.
Patrick will look back at the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And turn back and go, yes, I believe that would be good for everyone's time.
Good. Follow me.
Wait,
But don't worry, there's a long time to discuss exactly where you're going and what you're doing, because you're going back through the market. There'll be maybe some little role plays on the way, through the market again, back towards the platform, but at least that's the objective. But I'll pause a moment for you guys to hash things out exactly what you want to do with the slaves, with Tyra, where you want to go, what the plans are, the whole shebang.
Yeah, here's my only concerns. If he takes us right to the Baron to do the Baron's thing, is he then going to take us back to the Rhapsody? Are the slaves coming with us to the Baron to do this thing? Like, these are things we should know.
Well, definitely. Well, and you should ask Tyra and find out.
Alright, so in character...
You want to ask Tyra?
Yeah, I guess in character, Al would say, Tyrath.
Yes. He says as he swivels his head towards you.
I understand the pressing need for time. I have a few questions, though. The first one would be, if you take us directly to this person whom we are doing the boon for, would you then be taking us back to our ship? Where you met us when we called you?
This time he brings a finger up towards you, a single finger, and he waves it in front of your face, and he says, "Silly owl. You speak of time, but you do not understand it. I had been hoping during all this time of our alliance you would come to understand. I am master of time and space. Both are manipulated by my will. There is no reason why I could not simply put you back aboard your ship months or years ahead of time."
Ah. I see. Al's going to look to the others.
He retrieves... He's going to retrieve his hand a little bit back towards his leg, and he'll continue to lead you guys on through the market. I'll let you guys still keep hash things out, but there you are walking through the Splin dimensional market with the unicorn. There's going to be some role plays happening, right? But I want you guys to hash out what you guys want to do first before I throw that in there.
Al would be like, well, that's going to piss Blink, Alicia, and August off a bit, probably. But,
And Bear.
Yeah.
Not Bear. Yeah, and
Bear.
Bear.
But, like, Al's gonna be like, but I'm not sure which is worse, them mad at us, or Tyrath deciding this is all annoying and not granting the boon.
I don't know either.
Al would like kind of he'd think about it for a while and he'd go,
Can't tell you.
Though on the other hand, I mean, they can be upset, but I mean, what are we going to do? Order Tyrath around? Tell him not to?
That's a bad idea. Let me just say that right now. That's a bad.
Like, out of character,
idea.
I'm just thinking of this. It's like, you were gone for 4 months. What did you want us to do? If Tyra said we're skipping 4 months, guess what, folks?
No, it's not. It's not set in stone.
No.
He
That's
just,
what we would
remember,
tell them.
Before he even talked about bending time and space, he asked Patrick, he's eager to get this boon finished, but he also realizes he has a free teleport. I mean, like, there's a free teleport involved too, right? He is still putting it. Obviously, he has his interests, right? But you guys have some leeway, of course.
No, you're misunderstanding. That's what we could tell our NPC friends. If Tyra said we're going to do it,
tell your NPC
exactly.
Yeah, you see Tyra, you don't want to piss them off.
Yeah, it's like if Tyra says we're skipping
great.
4 months, guys, we're skipping 4 months. I'm sorry. That's what I was saying. We could do.
See, I guess I'm sorry. I guess I missed the context. Yeah, I guess I missed the context of that statement. Because I was like, oh god, no! I'm giving you guys choices. I'm giving you choices. Just take them. Take them.
I'm actually fine with putting us back on the ship 4 months from now. Though I think we should probably drop off all the ex-slaves first.
Well, they're still slaves technically.
Yeah,
until you free them.
Until you go like Free Willy on them, there's freaking slaves.
Damn it!
I just had a picture of Leon instead of Free Willy with Mila going like, yeah!
Oh god. She's trying to touch his belly as he goes overhead.
Yeah, he's like, don't touch it, and just vomits.
I personally want to spend the 4 months on the ship for two very specific reasons. One, I had been planning a very, 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 very important thing for a while, if you recall Inferno, and that will have to happen 3 months after we were teleported, for lack of a better term. Plus, if we skip the 4 months, we don't learn any fucking skills. And I kind of want to learn a skill. That's the thing. So I mean, I kind of want to spend the
I can't
4
say
months
anything
on
to the
there.
first thing because it's a role play, but to the second thing, I'm the GM. I can have you guys learn skills a bunch of different ways, right? I don't want this. I mean, you rationalize your decision however you want, right? But you guys have learned skills in the past, and you guys will continue to learn skills in the future, right? So if that's important to you, fine. But as a GM, I just want to say, like, don't worry about it.
All right.
But the other one, I mean, whatever. Oh, everyone throw in their opinion.
As a player, I don't mind either way. If I look at it though from the perspective of our characters, Tyrath is very finicky, and if he says I'm eager to get this done, and we say no, wait 4 months, despite how often he says time means nothing to him, we don't know how he's going to respond to that. And it would be really sucky to do all this work just to have him say, you know what? No.
Yeah, let's just skip it.
Or you can ask him first.
That is true. I mean, like I said, I'm just looking from the point of view of our characters. As a player, I don't mind either way. So we can always change the point of view of our players.
Yes. Of your characters, yes.
So I'm hearing that we want to actually be back on the ship for, common courtesy of having people not miss the crap out of us, leaving without a word for 4 months, that kind of thing. That can raise a whole bunch of problems by itself.
Especially since August saw us, so he's probably going to tell everybody, "Hey, Tyra's still come."
Tyra is here. They disappeared. There's this thing on the wall. 2 of the bugs are missing.
Oh god. I was thinking. Actually, I would hope everyone
Actually,
saw
all the bugs
Tyrath
are
take
missing.
us. I would hope everyone saw Tyrath take us. Otherwise, all our friends are gonna be like, "Where
Sure.
did they go?"
Yeah.
It's fine. They'll know. Like I said, August for sure saw,
Yeah.
right? So he'll tell them.
Here's a question, Patrick. Your bird, how far
Yeah.
range does it have?
It has miles.
Because I was gonna say maybe
Yeah.
we could send a message to everyone saying, "Hey, it's gonna be a while."
All right. Okay, guys, I have an alternate idea. Okay? Why don't we do a few other little role plays here in the Splin Dimensional Market, right? Because you guys have to go through there and get to the platform. And before you get teleported away, we'll end the session, and you guys can decide during the week where you want to go, when you want to go, and what you're going to do with the slaves,
Sounds
including
like a plan.
Leon. Work?
I think so.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So, let's see here. So, as you weave through the dimensional market, once again, the roads, by the way, the roads that they're on, this isn't just some dirt road or anything like that. These are perfectly cobbled stone, and they look like they have been shaped in strange designs. Not your typical brickwork that fits perfectly with each other, right? It is very intricate and very flowing, right? There's not a lot of hard edges or anything like that. So as you first lead this parade through, you hear, some passers-by noticing, Tyrath and the entourage. And you hear some people questioning why some of his slaves have Zomatrons on them, but some of them don't. That's awfully perplexing. That's weird. Maybe there's servitude. I don't see any markings on them. They don't look tattooed. Do you think they're in cahoots? And a bunch of rumors and such like that, right? And then someone makes a grab for Leon. Out of just in between 2 tightly food stalls, right? Give me a moment, and I'll just throw in a picture of this person. Give me a moment. There he is. There's the stupid, ugly thing. Humanoid, bald, craggy, large, with cybernetic arms. Comes out of kind of nowhere, and he starts to he makes a grab, grabbing Leon around the neck. It happens very quickly, but he's not doing any harm to it, or he's not taking any additional actions until I give you guys a chance to act or react in this case.
So, my question is, does he look like he's grabbing it to just kind of look it in the face? Is he grabbing it like he's trying to choke it, or is he grabbing it like he wants to pull it with him while he's going in the other direction?
You can't tell because it's happening so fast. It doesn't look like he's trying to choke it because he'd be able to do so very easily with metallic arms. But in the few split seconds, you see him trying to pull it towards him. I can continue on with the description, but
No,
I didn't want to have some sort of reaction. Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Personally, I think split second would be something that Patrick would not be the most ready for, so I would say he's going to be turning and trying to assess the situation more.
Okay.
I would think Al would be on alert because given where he is. However, if he acts rashly, things could get bad. So he will He has no weapons.
Oh,
He has
I know.
nothing.
What he's going to.
Al will just get ready
Oh, yeah.
to cast a spell, but not cast one.
Okay.
In the short time, he's actually just going to do a short, loud, like, "Hey."
Oh, okay. Great. Anything else? Can I continue? Or, Murren, you want to throw something in? Criana, if you want to throw something in, go nuts.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm good.
So, Al readies himself. Patrick says, hey, and it is clear now, as a few more seconds pass, this thing is trying to pull it back towards the stalls, and the zombified Leon, or zombitronified Leon, easily complies with any sort of pull. But because Patrick yelled, it causes Tyra to turn around and to see what happens. He gives a low rumbling, very, very annoyed at this point. And he extends a hand, and it glows a soft, soft blue. And sure enough, the creature, or the being, the humanoid that was grabbing the Leon, starts to grow a soft blue too. Do you want to cast a spell now, Squee?
Oh, no, he seems to have things under control.
Okay, yeah, he most certainly does, because now this thing is beginning to scream in agony as it begins to float high above you. And Tyra says a few more words, and this one is in Draconic. And actually, wait, you all still have the tongue spell cast on you, so you know what he says, which is, "Begone." And the man's head explodes, or the thing's head explodes, in a horrible font of gore that sprinkles along the back of Leon, upon your heads, upon your shoulders. And there's a big surprise noise by the closer, alien lookers-on of the dimensional market. And as the headless body plunges to the ground, everything erupts in laughter. Most of the people who saw this thought this was the funniest damn thing they ever saw. And give me another moment, because this was requested by one of you fine people as a refresher on what the Kitani look like in their armor. So give me a moment as I bring over that token. Give me a moment. Oh, that's Nathan. That picture made me sad. Give me a moment, I have to look in my token. My token. Shorties and blunts and tokens. Aren't I a gangsta? There it is. So, shortly after the incident, as this picture uploads, a being in strange alien power armor, which you recognize from before, with your encounter with the Splagorth slaver, he approaches Tyrath, and this is a few minutes after this encounter. He stops and he approaches them, and he speaks in his native language, and Tyrath speaks in his language, and your tongue spell still understands. And pretty much he will just wants a record of the incident and what happened, and Tyrath is just kind of giving him a very quick rundown. The body language of this thing just seems very similar to a police officer who has to get absolute record of a jaywalking fine. You know what I mean? It's so minor. Who cares? But I gotta ask anyway. These questions. And they continue to converse for a little while. Soon after, they depart, and after that, you continue on towards the platform. I'm just trying to think. Is there anything you guys, out of curiosity, if anything you guys are particular keeping an ear or an eye out for, anything you want to snatch, or do you guys want to let's not fuck with anything, let's not make any trouble, let's get straight to the platform? What's your moods?
Tom's doing the latter. Let's not fuck with anything.
I think
Okay.
Al's also doing the latter.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure. And Piph?
Oh, yes. He's been trying not to fuck with anything so
Yeah, you've
hard.
been doing a good job. You've done a good job. So with that, I can honestly say there's no other incidences. Tyrath has set a very large standard, very similar as if someone was driving a very, very expensive car and then someone tried to steal it and the safety protocol set that person on fire. People learn, maybe we shouldn't steal that guy's car. And because of such a precedent, and because a Tyrath is being Tyrath, you are all led to the platform very easily. And with that, I will kind of officially end the session as far as, ideas or things to throw out to you guys. But, there's still a few minutes before we traditionally end, right? So you guys can maybe spend this, because it's a lot easier to figure out what you want to do, talking face-to-face, rather than, texting it to each other via Skype. So if you guys want to spend a few minutes, post-session to figure out what you want to do, if you have any questions for me, or any questions you would ask Tyrath, I'm available.
All right. So, I think the best thing right now is to figure out what our goals are.
Okay. That's a great idea. Great approach.
So, our goals, I think, are to use our free teleport to move over to a land or area that we know fairly well and release these fine people into the world.
Yeah. New Laszlo, or the area around New Laszlo, seems to be the best idea.
There's also Green Castle.
There is that. The only danger is it's on the east coast, so it's prime territory for Splagorth attacks.
Yeah, I was thinking, God,
Right.
how horrible would it be to drop him off there and just have him picked up again by a slaver?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should ask Leon.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some discussion there.
Yeah. Leon might want
Most
to go somewhere in
likely.
particular. And if it's somewhere the slaves can, or the ex-slaves can
I-
also do it.
I
I realized I was muted. I said, we could do that now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sure. We'll have to
We
unzombify
already. Yeah, we already know how to take the zombifiers off.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Very carefully.
Yeah, very, very carefully, essentially.
What do you want to do with the little Zombitron afterwards, though? Do you want to just kill it, or do you want to keep it somewhere?
Well, do we want it? Do we care about the zombitrons, guys? Because if not, we can offer it to Tyrath. Because I remember he took a bunch of them last time.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
the player in me is a little sickened at the idea of using the same thing as Splagorth used, but from Al's point of view, this thing is not good or evil, it's just a thing, and it could be very advantageous to have a thing like that.
Yeah, but the only question is, where are we going to store it for now? Do we need to feed it? Is it just...
Oh, I don't know. Well, why don't we keep it, and if it dies, it dies.
But where do we keep it?
Yeah. It's going to try to crawl up on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. So, kill it. Better than it trying to crawl up on us.
Well, I do like the idea of asking if Tyrath wants these or not.
Okay, Tyrath would... He'd take it if you wouldn't take it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
So-
that idea.
All right, so we'll say Tyrath actually is the one to bring his hand up and extract the Zombitron from Leon. And in a brief flash of red light, it disappears from his hands. And for a moment, Leon blinks for a few moments. He gives his head a shake, and he looks at you with his one good eye as it clears. And he looks around where he is, and immediately his body tenses up.
Hold up.
He's back hoofing a little bit right now.
Mhm.
He's not saying anything at the moment. But he's looking to you guys. You see a look of recognition, but now he's looking at Tyrath, and he's looking everything around. That look of recognition turns to a look of confusion, and you'll hear him mutter, "The fuck?"
Al will say, "You were a slave. We just bought you, and we're taking you out of here so we can just let you go. Wherever it is, you go."
Give me a second. I gotta think of a Leon way to reply. It's important. It's important.
It certainly is. I missed him.
He just replies gruffly, "Get me out of here. I can take care of myself. I've always taken care of myself. Get me out of here. Get me out of here." And you see the tip of his horn begin to glow a very soft pink glow for a moment.
You don't care where you end up?
Out now.
We
Okay,
can decide
we're-
that
we're-
later. It'll be decidedly harder to do so if you make a big scene. So if you could just bear with us for a little bit longer.
He gnashes his teeth at you, and he says, "How about I cut out your fucking eye and put you into slavery 4 fucking times and see how skittish you are? Get me out of here now or I'll get myself out."
Al looks
Hey,
at him.
question. Shit.
Yeah, what's up?
Are we at the platform to get out of here? Or...
Yes,
Okay.
yes, this is all happening at the platform.
Okay, then maybe we should get out of here.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
So, place, guys.
A mile away from Greencastle?
No, wait, didn't we just say Greencastle was a bad idea?
Then a
Oh,
mile
yeah.
away from New Laszlo?
Yeah, I think New Laszlo would be better. Or Perrin's Post.
I actually do have a place
Oh.
in mind. And I might... Jim, I'm sorry if I'm springing on this a bit too soon.
No, I don't care. It's at the end of the session. I can always pause and think about it. Fuck it. You know how flexible I am.
I'm going to do it outside of my hometown. If that's
Ooh.
okay with everyone.
Sure.
Safest place I know.
I kind of like the idea of maybe seeing someone like Perrin again. But if everyone's all for it, sure.
Actually, Patrick's place isn't that far away from Parents' Post. If we look
I
at
would
actually,
find it hilarious.
give me a moment. Give me a moment. I don't want to sell you on the idea or anything like that. But let me throw up here. I'll get rid of the guy whose head exploded, and I'll make Leon a little bit smaller. But I still have this little map of Michigan that I have here, because Piph and I talked about where his place would be, and it's in what used to be Michigan still, actually. So give me a moment.
I would find it hilarious if we actually, visit
It is.
Perrin and he just freaks his shit. What the fuck are you doing here?
All right, here, let me zoom in, make this a little bit bigger, zoom in. But Patrick's place actually is... let me put a little dot here. I'll make it a red dot. His place is right here. It's kind of a bit of a junk town, and the folks from Northern Gun and Ipshaming, they ferry a lot of their garbage or their scrap or whatnot across the lake towards this town, and it actually has a very flourishing, I guess you could say, like a scrap community or a recycling community. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And it's called LaCree.
Sure, why not?
Like I said, it's an option. It's an option.
I like it.
Sounds good to me.
It's not that far from Perrin's Post. Oh my god, this made me think of all sorts of crazy stuff now. Okay, cool. So that's where you want to teleport him. So if it's okay by you, because I want to roleplay the actual teleport, because remember, Tyra said we're going to visit some friends of mine, quote unquote. And I don't want to do that right now because we're getting near the end here, right? But that will be the objective. That will be the goal, to get Leon and maybe the other slaves. Who knows? You're all going to go to that area, and then I guess you guys will play it from here once you land, right?
Yeah. If anything, I think.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Al would probably ask where we're going. Is there anywhere? Because two of our slaves are like half dead. They obviously need medical attention. Is this town someplace they can receive that?
Oh, it depends on how good you want your medical equipment. There is small huts that a doctor does like to frequent. I'm not quite sure about his equipment at the moment, but there is a doctor.
Well, it's good, better than nothing. And I mean, the doctor part's not the problem. The supplies, if they need it, is the problem. But I think we'll manage.
It's a very managing town. If anything, it's a lot more skill than equipment.
Just Leon's poking it from the end of the map. Hey, how's it going? I'm kind of mean right now, but it's because I'm scared and hurt.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, "You're making
Also,
this
because I'm
harder."
a fucking badass. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm playing him how he is.
I know.
I'll move this out of the way now. Let me ride. There you go. But I guess this is a great end of session, right? I mean, next session, of course, we'll do some role play. We're going to be by Lacree and whatnot. You guys still have to decide, in regards to the Baron's Boon, where you guys want to show up. You want to go back to the Rhapsody, whatever, right? But I think this is a perfect place to end it, frankly.
Alrighty then.
Sounds good to me.
This is awesome. Congratulations, guys, by the way. You had to make some pretty tough decisions, and you freed an old acquaintance and a couple, innocent people from some pretty awful, monstrous slavers.
Well, to be fair, we're not sure they're innocent people, but probably innocent people.
There's few people who deserve slavery, frankly.
I agree.
Especially mindless slavery.
But yes, awesome. All right, everyone on the stream, thank you guys for coming. I know this isn't our usual night for Rifts, but we won't be able to do it tomorrow night. So, we will see you guys next week. Actually, no, we'll see you Wednesday here for 3 Galaxies.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Assholes.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.